how is it going to change your life? So, Tom Truong, thank you so much for being our guest here today. And can you
Sure.
share a little bit about you? And I know with you, you are always cutting edge, in technology and why this company, but really the concept of tokenization, crypto in a way, all of this kind of fits together. If you don't mind sharing your background first and then kind of
Yeah,
going into these buzzwords.
you got it, Jim. Well, first, thank you for having me on the Top Agent Secret Show here, Top Agent Nation. This call, Jim, is focused on commercial real estate, right?
Yes.
Want to make sure we're speaking with the right audience in terms of talking about commercial real estate. So, yeah, a little bit about me, just 2 minutes, is I've always been one to always try to stay ahead of the curve, right? You guys have heard the old saying, figure out where people are going, figure out where people are going and get there faster, right? Figure out what people want and deliver that faster. And most of that has to do with, watching trends. Um, and during the advent of the internet, a lot of people didn't take advantage of building out the infrastructure for the internet. And Jim just mentioned in his opening comments, boy, what if you had the opportunity to be part of the internet explosion, right? What if you had the opportunity to take part in the cellular phone industry? Once upon a time, we all used a telephone with a telephone line, a hard line. And what if we got the call, all of us, to say, hey, Jim, do you want how many? We're going to put up a cell phone tower network worldwide. And would you like to be part of the infrastructure before people even knew what cell phone was? And how many cell phone towers do you want to control for the rest of your life or for the next 4 generations? Right? And if you bought a cell phone tower, you bought into that before cell phone technology really made it out there, you would have been sitting pretty, wouldn't you? Right? And what about Amazon, right? Amazon came along and Jeff Bezos says, "Man, I'm gonna sell books online." Well, that's not too sexy, selling books online, but he had a bigger vision. His vision goes, "Hey, let's create an online distribution system, and we're gonna build it before anyone else understands it. How many Amazon distribution centers do you want? How many trucks do you want? How many warehouses do you want? And we're going to build out this infrastructure. And we're going to deliver books to people, but we're going to deliver all goods and services to people. And that's part of that infrastructure. Okay? Imagine if you were part of that industry, that revolution. Now comes cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not new. Cryptocurrency started way back when Bitcoin came up with cryptocurrency, and Satoshi Nakamoto came up with the concept of a decentralized financial system back in 2009, right after the last big financial crash. And for us real estate practitioners, for Jim, you were there, I was there. The big Scott Cook, I know you were there,
I
right?
wish I would, bought some coins or not leverage too much. And, there's
Yeah.
a lot that could have helped us using new technology and other technology.
And here's the challenge. The challenge is it was too new for everybody. We didn't understand what that all was. We couldn't even find someone who could explain it to us on Zoom, never mind in person, right? No one could explain that to me, Jim.
Tom, and you were the first one using Zoom. I remember, hey, let's do Zoom. What's Zoom? I remember you started doing this early. I remember
I
that.
Exactly, Jim. I was a big proponent of Zoom in our last trade organization, the Asian Real Estate Association. They weren't using it, and I was adamant about it. I said, "This is the future." And guys, this is way before COVID. Way, way, way before COVID, I started using Zoom. I bought Zoom stock when it was nothing. Nothing. It was pennies to Zoom stock, and I still have Zoom stock today. That thing exploded. So figure out where people are going and get there first. The challenge is most people is they can't get they don't have that early adopter mentality, that pioneers, because guess what? We are all taught that if you go first, you get shot first, right? We know if you go first, you'll get shot first. But not if you go smart first. You get there first, be smart about it, right? Do your research, do deep research. Today's call is all about that, okay? I
And
was
Tommy,
early.
you're right. I just want to add, everyone needs to be open-minded to see, explore, be curious, right? Be curious, but be smart, right? Make smart decisions, do your due diligence. Because Tommy, you and I know some people are just very stubborn, and that's okay. You can wait until everyone's zooming or everyone's buying books or whatever on Amazon because that's what it is. But the early adopters that could see the trend get involved early, there's opportunities galore before everyone's doing it, right? And then you're just jumping on the bandwagon. But thank you, Tommy, because I watch you very often of what you're working on, and I am curious all the time. To sometime I place a bet just so like this, you get to see behind the curtains. Sometimes you got to invest to play the game and put a little bit of money to see what's going on. But that is sometimes what I tell people if you're able to, but always, it doesn't cost you any money to be curious, be open minded to explore. But Tommy,
That's
thank
right.
you.
All right, so I think so. We're gonna get right into it. Be early and be there fast, right? So tokenization of real world assets, and in this presentation I created just for you, Jim, is a brand new presentation for today. You're seeing it for the first time. The world is seeing it for the first time, but catered towards the commercial real estate world. Okay, you guys can see my screen. Blockchain capital. Blockchain opens up capital markets for companies. Yes,
Yes, we can see it.
beautiful. All right, so here we go. Um, so what is tokenization of real estate? First of all, ultimately, what I'm going to be talking about is giving you, the audience, an opportunity to participate as a node operator. And this is not an investment by any means. It's strictly software. And I have to put this disclaimer out there. There is no promise of income. You need to do your own due diligence, and we can provide enough materials for you to do your own due diligence. Okay. Just like if you were an accountant and you went out and you bought QuickBooks software, QuickBooks will disclose that we will not promise that you will make a boatload of money being a CPA using our software. Does that make sense? But if you know how to leverage the software, then yes, you can bill out a lot of money by using our software. And that's what this is all about. Okay. So, what is tokenization? It is the process of converting real world assets like equities, real estate, or any revenue stream into digital tokens that are tradable on a blockchain. The method is seen as an innovative alternative for small to mid-cap enterprises between 50 to 100 million in net worth, who have historically struggled to access capital markets. I'm going to stop share for Jim. With your experience helping so many commercial developers access capital, share with the audience in 2 minutes, Jim, how hard it is to access capital in the traditional way, taking it
Yeah.
public or going to VC money, and how much do they take from you after you help them raise capital?
Yeah. And it is tough. And that's why a lot of people try to go build their database through friends and family round. Friends and family round can only get you, I would say, 500,000 max. Usually it's less than that, 100,000 to get you started. So you can build a prototype MVP. Then everyone goes to the next layer within your influence, who owns funds and everything. But there's a cost of equity, right? There's a cost of equity or LP money, limited partnership money. And when you start looking at it, I would say the next round up, you're paying at least maybe I would say 6 to 8%. And then if you use broker dealers, obviously they're larger money investment banks. You're looking at a lot of times 10% extra. So you're just for the equity, you're paying 10%. And a lot of times, depending on project and risk, they may add more strings and other things in. But that's just the cost of the capital. There's other pieces and
That's right.
services to protect it that you got to layer in. So you're maybe adding another percent or two. And everyone knows the cost of capital, the friction that we're all calling this, right? The people touching the money will slow it down and also cost more money to make it happen. But that's why, Tommy,
Exactly.
great setup. I love this.
And so blockchain basically solves a lot of those challenges. It allows you to access a larger pool of investors, especially with the Regulation A filing that we will help you get through the Securities and Exchange Commission to get your Reg A filing. And the Reg A, for those who don't know, will allow you to raise capital not just from the accredited investors, but also from the unaccredited investors, not just here in the United States for most of our audience, but also in around 7 continents to raise capital, and not just at a, $500,000 at a time, 5 million at a time. We'll help these companies raise 50 to 75 million at a time, at a fraction of the cost, at twice the speed. Okay, and so cryptocurrency has a really bad rep since they started. I don't know about you guys. I have lots of friends and family who've lost a lot of money in cryptocurrency. Why? Because they did not understand the project. Okay. After I get through this presentation, the next 20 minutes, you'll have a very clear understanding of what this project is and why it has real world usage. All right. So let's go play this next video.
What builds value in a blockchain? Utility. We knew we needed a blockchain. We love Bitcoin tokenomics. We've seen it work with other projects. Now we needed utility.
You have to have utility. And if their project does not solve a problem with actual utility, they tend to fail.
For a blockchain to really have a chance to go big, you got to have a real purpose that exists. And the second thing you got to have is you got to have a path to utility.
If you don't have utility, you don't have anything. Most projects launch with clever marketing, and they try to figure out their utility later. Value is not derived from excitement. It's easy to create excitement. It's derived from use. So we formed a grant. We take 25% of all of our node sales. We're selling 200,000 nodes. When they're gone. And that's hundreds of millions of dollars that we're putting into a grant to support technology companies that are focusing on real world assets. People ask me, where do the real world assets come from? They come from all kinds of different places. One of our grant recipients is here. You're going to be hearing from them today. It's T7X. They're a licensed digital asset platform. The beautiful thing is that anyone can now operate a node. You don't need to be a tech genius. Everyone now has a seat at the table, because in a private offering, they can only solicit to the wealthy. It's the rich get richer. Accredited investors. This is a significant deal. You can operate a node, you can buy a license to operate a node on the Trusted Smart Chain Network, and for your support and participation, you earn daily digital rewards in the form of the blockchain's native token, which is Trusted Smart Chain Token. So, what's the utility of the Trusted Smart Chain Token? Well, all of the gas fees, the transaction fees on the T7X licensed digital trading platform have to be paid with what token? Trusted Smart Chain. Real World Asset Manager gets approved, partners with a media company, goes out and starts to solicit in 7 continents around the world. Investors come to the table. Now, Real World Asset Manager has to pay them quarterly distributions. But here's the most important part. Who's the Real World Asset Manager buying the tokens from? The node operators. And you get to decide when you want to sell and at what price.
All right, like this very high level of what the Trusted Smart Chain is. So what kind of business are being tokenized? Okay, you can see it here. Tokenization of real world assets. RWA stands for real world assets. Luxury hotels. Do the people on the call work with luxury hotel developers? Existing businesses, commercial property, residential homes, REITs, and commodities. It is a massive shift in the financial ecosystem right now. For once in a lifetime, you, the audience, have the ability to participate as a banker. Would you like to participate in the banking system and have a seat at that table? That's what this project allows you to do. Traditional IPOs or VCs raises are expensive, just like Jim said. They're slow, complex, and there's lots of legalese, right? And banking regulations, and it often costs millions. Did you know that it costs $5 million to take any company public right now? Any company public, okay? And for our friends who worked in the VC world, venture capitalist world, these days, Jim, I call it vulture capitalists. Not venture capitalists anymore, right? Because if they help you raise $1 million, they'll probably take about $300,000 and leave you with $700 million in working capital, and you have $1 million in debt, but you only have $700,000 in capital to work with, because the brokerage and the filing fees and the marketing fees take a big chunk out of that, okay? And I've been told that that's conservative. The 30% is conservative. And the moment that you mess up, they take control of your company. They take over. They fire you as the CEO. They replace you with somebody else. Okay? So the old way really is very prohibitive of true growth for most people. So here's a paradigm shift. Blockchain enables digital tokens to securely represent ownership and assets conducted with transparency, speed, and automation. Okay. Imagine the contracts that you and I are traditionally used to writing, to signing. Hey, Jim, if I give you $1 million to invest in your company, you promise to return a dividend of 10% annually, plus you give me a portion of the upside. That's a contract. Well, imagine with blockchain, we can take that contract and we put it into digital asset. And what's really cool about it is we take the digital contract and we tie it right back through the court of law, a true ownership of the business that you have just invested in. Okay. And so all this is being able to held up in the court of law these days. Okay. The future of the future right now, guys, blockchain and decentralized finance is what we have the ability to get involved with. Tokenization is part of the broader decentralized financial movement. I was just in Las Vegas a couple of days ago, and there was a massive DeFi conference right there inside at Las Vegas. I think there were over 10,000, maybe 11,000 people across the world coming together to learn about this exact movement, the decentralized financial movement that's democratizing finance globally. Okay. So this industry, guys, is not, this industry is coming. It's coming full force. It's coming like a freight train that can't be stopped. Why? Because tokenization allows developers to attract investors globally. It lowers the cost of raising capital. It allows liquidity and flexibility. Everything on a blockchain is transparent, right? And it allows fractional ownership. Let me stop share for a second to bring the point home about tokenization. Jim, in the typical capital raise, let's say a developer wants to raise $50 million, Jim, and they go out and they say, I need $50 million. I'm going to pay you 10% annual dividends. And then, 5 years later, I would have stabilized my project. I would refi and cash you out. Does that sound like a typical capital raise deal?
It does, yes.
Okay, so what happens 3 years into it? And you're the developer and I'm the investor. I says, Jim, can I have my $50 million back?
Well, it depends on deals, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're locked in or trapped. I've seen that to many investors where unfortunately they come to me because they're trapped and there's really no recourse
Yeah.
besides trying to sue, and that costs money. But it's very, very
What's the
difficult.
point of suing? I
Very
signed a
difficult.
contract with you, Jim, that I'm going to give you $5 million. You're going to keep it for 5 years, and after 5 years, you're going to refi and cash me out. In the meantime, I promise to pay you your 10% distribution on a quarterly basis. You, Jim, the developer, are holding up your end of the bargain, right?
Yes.
I have a life event 3 years later. I need my $5 million back because I got to pay for, my best friend's cancer treatment, and he doesn't have insurance.
Yep. Can't get it. A lot of
Can't
times
get
if
it.
it's not in the contract or the general partner doesn't want to exit, you're stuck.
You're stuck. Hence why tokenization allows liquidity. It allows you to go onto the blockchain and put your shares up for sale. And if Barbara wants to buy it, she takes over your position and she basically buys $5 million of your tokens, takes you out. You get your money back. You transfer it right back to the US dollar, and Barbara takes over your position, and she'll get the refi cash out at the very end. In the meantime, she gets her quarterly distributions. How cool is that? Okay, and that is why this is really catching on. Okay, so this is the market here. The market size is not something that I'm making up, guys. This is already happening. In 2025, $500 billion of real world assets were already tokenized. And in all conservative estimates, in the next 4 years, this $500 billion market is growing to 16 trillion. You can fact check me with Claude, with ChatGPT, with Perplexity. Fact check me. Ask it, how large is the asset class called tokenization of real world assets growing to in the next 4 years by 2030? And aggressive reports will come back to tell you over $100 trillion. So friends listening in, how are you positioning yourself to take advantage of this entire shift in the marketplace? How are you setting yourself up to be part of the infrastructure, to be part of the tokenization of real world assets? All right. I'm going to skip some slides because I want to make sure that I get through it, and then we'll get to Q&A. All right. This slide can seem pretty confusing if you don't understand what it is. Let me break it down for you. You see these white dots here? This is what we call nodes. Okay? A node is sort of like a software program that helps to stand up the blockchain. The Trusted Smart Chain is a layer 1 blockchain. If you bought in this scenario here 7 nodes, currently you will get 1 coin per day, 1 Trusted Smart Chain coin per day. And the coin today is trading at about $30 a coin. It's already being traded on our trading platform. Right? If you bought 3 times that, then you get 3 times the coin. If you bought 300 times that, then you get 300 times the coins on a daily basis. Well, on the surface, these coins have no value. Just like Bitcoin in its year 1, 2, 3, 4, literally had no value, right? If you were part of Bitcoin back in 2009, 0 value until there was demand on it. So on our blockchain, Jim, where does the demand come from? Well, it comes from these real world assets, such as Tranquil Health, Tulum, which is a luxury boutique hotel, Grow Estate, which is a medical grade marijuana, a publicly traded company that's raising capital to expand. White Claw Crude is a company that does oil and gas refineries in northern Dallas, Texas. These are just 4 of the hundreds of real world assets that are being tokenized. They come on and they will create their own coin that's called a layer 2 coin. They will each, let's say in this scenario, raise $50 million to expand their businesses. They have to get the Regulation A filing from the Securities and Exchange Commissions, and we help them get through that. And once they get through that, they start to raise their $50 million in capital raises. And when they do that, they will promise their investors that they will pay back the distributions in the form of the Trusted Smart Chain coin. So this is what happens. We, the node operators, who if you want to participate, you get your daily rewards in coins, and they have to buy these coins from you to pay back their investors during their capital raise. And that's how you get involved with this banking system that you are now a part of. Okay? Hopefully you understand that. So the demand for our token comes from, these RWAs buying our token to pay out the distribution. There are transaction fees that they also need to pay using our coin. We are the native pairing for asset swaps. So if you want to swap from one coin to another, the coin the coin that has to be used is our Trusted Smart Chain coin. Okay, Jim, I am at the end of my presentation, and I'll take questions if you would like. So to become a node operator right now, Jim is a node operator. He will get you involved. He has his affiliate link for you to register, and you buy a node for $4,000. Your node will allow you to participate in the blockchain and get those daily distributions of those rewards. Of course, mathematically, 5 nodes is 20,000, 20 nodes is 80,000. For the record, I started with 20 nodes about 9 months ago. And then I quickly, over the past 9 months, I have bought more and more and more nodes. Think of a node as a cell phone tower as part of the infrastructure. And today I'm over 200 nodes as a Titan. I actually have 264 nodes as of today. And the more nodes I have, the more daily distributions I have, and the more of the infrastructure I control for the next 120 years of this infrastructure, where real world assets will tokenize, come onto our blockchain, raise capital at a fraction of the cost, at twice the speed, to continue to expand their businesses. The difference between what 99.5% of the US and the world population does in cryptocurrency is they go out and they buy the token. They buy the egg. They buy the coin. When they buy it one time and they sell it, it's game over. As a node operator, you are buying the goose that lays those eggs, those tokens for the next 120 years. So this is crypto grown up. If you're going to play in this world, don't buy a coin, buy the node, be part of the infrastructure to mine the coins just like a Bitcoin miner for the next 120 years. Okay. That is the end of my presentation, Jim.
Yeah, if you don't mind talking, sharing, because to me, I've always been curious. I've actually invested in maybe 4 tokenization companies. I was always one of those individuals. I like, pre-Series A, before the bigger money comes in. Friends and family round, I've been around. Seed round, I've been before they go to Series A. And I always tell people this, if it is of interest and the cost, and when I bought in to Trusted Smart Chain, I was always curious, right? And the cost, I think I didn't spend much. I think it increased in price.
2,500
But
bucks. You got in when I got in at 9 months ago. Now
yeah,
our nodes will go up $100 every 1,000 node that we sell. All right. And so Jim and I got in today. There's 40,000 nodes on our blockchain, right? And when Jim and I got in, there was just 15,000 nodes online. That's why we only paid 2,500 bucks, and it went up $100 every 1,000 that we brought on today. Jim, it went from 15,000 nodes to 40,000 nodes, and that's why it's $4,000 now. Yep.
yeah, and this is exciting. And for me, I'm always curious. I like technology, vested in companies when it was what was that? After the Job Act, but crowdfunding, right?
Yeah.
Crowdfunding. So vested in 2 or 3 crowdfunding companies, still around. One of them, some went out, right? There's always risk, but for me, I always love to learn and how I could use the application. What I really like is I do believe in blockchain, right? Having that transparency. I do like less friction, and what I also like is a secondary market because a lot of times on projects the LP money, the limited partners money cannot be replaced, right?
Right.
And some things you got to follow security laws, all the laws and rules. So I always say, always talk to your CPA lawyers. I always CYA, cover my, butt and
That's right.
make sure that I'm doing it by compliance. But I am very curious all the time about what people are doing and how I can use it to innovate. And because Tommy, because of the businesses and companies I talk to all the time, there is always a fit. Not some things there's no fit, some things there's a fit, but you got to talk and understand it from many different angles. But I am excited to learn more, to watch this grow, right? And I'm glad I even signed up. I bought the node and I didn't even hook it up. But now I'm seeing it like, process some stuff, but it's just the curiosity for me of learning the new technology. And some people, that's okay. You know, I would say like AI, keep in front of this, learn about, as the US, and it's been brought out there about the stable coins. Crypto is different, and the meme coin is even more risky. That's really the
Yeah.
greater fool theory sometime, right? We all saw the monkey or something's being sold for
That's right.
millions, and now it's nothing, right? You can buy it for pennies on the dollar. So it's crazy. But the utility of what you said is very important of how this works. But from me, and I've had many conversations, is the secondary market. And then later on, the interlinking of different tokens, right? And concepts of how it goes. So to me, Tommy, maybe you can talk about some examples that are on the trusted blockchain right now
Yeah.
about what you're doing, right? Because I love case studies. All this sometimes it's theoretical, it's too hard to understand. Let's simplify it as a
Let's
case study
simplify it. Okay.
with a project of, okay, you bought the token, some people bought tokens, so let's go to the other side. How are they using it
Okay.
to
Ve-
do it? Share a
Very good.
project.
So
Share a
here's a real
project.
life example. By the way, I saw in the comment, Scott Cook is one of someone in the audience here. Scott, if you want, Scott says in the comment to the public, hey, good morning, Tom and Jim. I'm already a node operator, several node operator actually, on the Trusted Smart Chain. So Scott, if you want to open up your mic and share with the audience why you are involved in this and how you see the future, and we'd love to hear from you. And then I'll go and answer Jim's question about real life cases from real world assets that are already coming onto our chain. Scott, thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, of course. Good morning. Good morning. Well, and look, first of all, I guess thank you for the opportunity, Tom, because you reached out to me and everybody. Of course, I know you through James and all the whole big network. So, I mean, you say it all. There's nothing I can say other than I invested my money almost a year ago now, I think.
9 months ago.
If you're
9 months ago.
9 months, then I'm
You
not
were an
more.
early adopter with Jim and me, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. So look, I'm excited about it. This to me, this isn't something that I'm going to cash out and I'm going to get rich next year. I'm not even, I long-term staked everything that comes in. In fact, every time my nodes generate, keep long-term staking it, right? So to me, this is something that I'll give to my son. Like my son knows all about it. He's got all my info to get in and do what he needs to do. So for me, that's really what it is just a super long-term hold. And I think it's going to pay off. I mean, look, we all, I own the dog coin, right? Like, and some of the others, but this one I like because of the real world assets. This one, I like the way it's set up. So anyway, that's it. I own, I think 5 nodes. I've been running them now for about a year. There's that monthly cost, but it's so low, and I've already have my money back. So in a year, I've already gotten my money back if I sold it all today at the market price. So, 100% return in 12 months. I'm good on that kind of an investment.
Thank you for sharing that, guys. By the way, for full disclosure, there's no promises of income, but you just heard what Scott Cook said, and and if you heard it before, your node, will be mining for another 119 years. That is powerful. All right, so here's the real deal. There's a company out
Tom,
there.
if you can, with Mike and others, they would like a link or more information if they may want to,
Yeah.
sign up, learn more, everything else.
You got it. So I pulled up that link. I shared it before. Oh, Mike. All right. Let me get you that link. Let me explain this to you, and then I will get the link for you to put it on. Okay. So you can become an affiliate. So there was a question. Do you have to pay to become an affiliate? The answer is no, not at all. All right. This is not where you have to pay to play. You can actually participate as an affiliate to get into our ecosystem. And we will get you started. As a matter of fact, on this call, Mike, why don't you text me? This is my cell phone, and I will text you back. That's my cell phone, Mike. Please text me, and I will text you back Jim Huang's link for you to register as an affiliate. Okay, I want to respect Jim's time and his affiliation here, and you'll be going to become an affiliate underneath James Huang. Okay, so here's a real world use case. There's a company called Tranquil Health. They already have successful clinics that you can walk into in the greater Philadelphia and southern Florida markets. What is Tranquil Health? They have this technology in layman's terms. It's a machine that you put around your head, and after between 6 to 9 treatments, they have a 60% chance of remediating, according to the FDA, Federal Drug Administration, 60% success rate of remediating ADD, ADHD, manic depression, and about 60 other human diseases that's happening right now. Okay, they hope to get through some clinical trials to show that the same technology will solve Alzheimer's. Just think about that for a second. Okay, and they want to take this technology to the world, at least throughout the United States. But like most businesses that we all know of, they are equity rich, talent rich, technology rich, but cash poor. Does that sound familiar? How many businesses do you guys know that have everything going on, but they just don't have the cash flow to expand? But they don't want to sell off the whole company to a VC, and then that's it. They get a one-time check, they burn through that check, and it's game over. They want residuals, right? So instead of going taking the company public or go to a VC where they have the ability that where they might lose control of their company. They've decided, Jim, to license out the software, to license out the hardware, and to help other distributors all across the other markets in the US to open up these clinics or to add this technology to their existing clinics to expand their what they can do for humanity. So they're coming onto our blockchain, and they just got approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission to get their Regulation A filing to go out and raise $50 million within a year to expand their network of operators worldwide. When they do that, according to the filing, they will pay out 8% dividends on an annual basis for their investors. And by the way, you can buy into their Tranquil Health token, right? They're raising 50 million. Let's say you want to give them $1 million or $2,500 is the minimum capital raise. Okay, so you give them $2,500. You buy that token. They'll promise to return through a smart contract that's operated by the Trusted Smart Chain 8% dividends on an annual basis, paid out quarterly. All right, plus 70% of the profit sharing going back to the investor pool. Jim, and when they pay out that 8% annual dividends plus 70% of the profit sharing, they have to come onto our blockchain to buy the Trusted Smart Chain token that Jim, Scott Cook, and I are minting every day to pay out the distributions. That's a real life use case. Right now, that's happening. Okay. And in the next year, we're going to have at least 10 more RWAs come on chain with a similar concept. And I'll give you 2 more examples if we have time. All right. And then within 3 years, we'll have over 100 real world assets coming on. And if all of them just raise 50 million instead of 75 million, that is $500 million of demand on the token that us node operators are mining, minting every single day.
Yeah, Tom, and that's what I'm excited from. One, being curious, learning about the tech, love that. But for me, I kind of did this because I like the projects, because I'm always involved in cash flowing projects that need some liquidity, right? Everyone needs liquidity. That's basically the stock market, bid,
Yep.
ask, same thing. But we do need an LP, because to be on the stock market or SPAC or anything else, very complicated, private equity, accredited investors, all these things. And I know there's rules and everything else that to do each part of it. But to me is to use technology with the less friction and easier ways to send money or using tokens. I do believe it's the future. It's when, as you said, the regulators and people promote it. I know there was some resistance globally. People have their own issues because it's hard to track the money, right? Governments like to control it. They like to limit it. They like to watch it. But having this future of what we can do, and my thought is how it integrates with each other, connects, because you're not the only one doing this. Other groups are doing this. Eventually, there's going to be that translator, right? That you translate and you're passing different nodes like currency of what's their value, right? And that's going to be through AI, smart ways of putting this all together. But I do like everything is speed, liquidity, less friction. And that's why everyone sees the crypto is here to stay. It's just when regulations from the governments, right, around the world put it and play nice, because the cost of all this other ways of printing it. I mean, one simple example is how often do we use our credit card, but also how much is the credit card fees? It should not cost 1.5, 3% fee
Exactly.
of are you nuts?
That's a
Right?
great point there, Jim. Yep.
But that's the biggest thing. Before we used to be cash and write checks all day long. Then we
Yep.
went to the days, and how they incentivized us is to get us points. But we know people that don't do this carry a balance. This is the next phase,
Yeah.
is to increase it, less friction, and all this good stuff. So that's what I'm seeing. And then later on, through the limited partner projects and everything else, how can you intertwine other tokenization or credits to buy
Yeah.
and trade with each other, right? Because everyone's going to be on different systems. And that's what I see from just the discussions I have around the world. So many people are doing this, but
Thank you, Jim.
it's okay.
You
It's
mentioned
okay.
something that I want to come back to, that we are not, the Trusted Smart Chain is not the only one who's tokenizing real world assets. There are actually about 10 other blockchains who are tokenizing real world assets, who have built their own layer one blockchain. There's a difference. And I won't get into the why layer one blockchain is important versus layer two. Okay. But among the 10 other blockchains that are tokenizing real world assets, folks, as far as we know, the Trusted Smart Chain is the only one who are requiring every real world asset, every business to go through a regulatory audit, not just by us. We not only do we require an independent third party audit, but we require that they go through the Securities and Exchange Commissions to get through their Securities and Exchange Regulation A filing. And that's why, Jim, we're the ones who in Washington, D.C. 3 months ago got awarded at the IMA conference as the blockchain of the year. In that room was the Speaker of the House, other congressmen, other senators sitting in that room where we got awarded blockchain of the year because we have regulatory oversight. And that's why I'm so passionate about this project, because many friends and family and associates have lost a lot of money in cryptocurrency. They were buying on hype, they bought on trust, but there was no verification of what these people were selling. The Trusted Smart Chain is the only blockchain, as far as we know, that require verification by a third party source, by our government, before they start raising any capital. Huge difference.
You know,
Huge
Tom,
difference. Yeah,
and that's good. But I always tell people there's no guarantee.
of course.
But it's learning, right? It's learning, figuring out, and it's like the internet. For those that were there, getting an AOL disk that they had to do, plugging it into their phone lines. I mean, it's just now look at it, right? From the 90s or even the
Yeah.
late 80s. Now look at this. So my thing is always be curious, be open-minded, learn. And it's okay to wait until everyone's using it, because the government in time will have, actually, from the Genius Act to the Clarity Act, how the US is going to adopt and use it, because it is more stable. Well, it causes, it's quicker, it's more, less friction, and it's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, the banking right now, people want to allow you to earn interest on your coins. And this is, Tom, like
Yeah.
what we're doing. We're earning interest as we invest and buy it. But this is the future that I don't want people to miss. Be curious, be open-minded, learn, and see. And like I said, I got into four, but you don't know which is going to do it. Just like when I got into the crowdfunding companies, only one of them are around out of the three I bought. So there is chance of loss. But I'll tell you this, I made a lot of friends. I learned about a lot of tech. And then I connected with other investors to do other projects together. So all in all, I would say my winners still outpace my losers. And it is fun, right? It is fun because technology is here to stay.
Yeah.
Tommy, anything else? Or unless there's any other
Here's
questions.
another example, and then we'll take some questions. Jim, you asked for some examples of real world assets just tokenizing on a blockchain, right? So there's a company out there called Grow Estate. They're based out of they're based out of Canada. Okay, they historically have been in the medical cannabis space. Okay, doing very well. Okay, and that space actually has been shrinking, if you guys have been following that space. However, during the last boom of the marijuana phase, all these people, all these businesses went out and bought up all this land, created all these greenhouses of massive sizes, okay? And the competition is stiff, and some of those businesses aren't doing so well. This company is doing well. But this company, and I don't want to spoil the beans. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the surprise. Um, they're gonna come on to the next deal exchange call, Jim, that Rich Enderlin and Jeff Finn are doing. Okay, this is the call here. I'm promoting it April 6th. They're gonna be one of the guest speakers that comes on to this deal exchange, the first Tuesday of next month. and they're going to show you the entire opportunity. I'm giving you a tease here. Okay. So what they do, Jim, is they are looking to raise, I think, $75 million. They're going through the Regulation A filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission now. Once they get past all the independent audits, they're blah, 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 blah. What they're going to do is they're going to take those $75 million and go and buy more of these distressed marijuana, cannabis growing farms, right, across the country, focused on delivering healthy foods, not growing marijuana anymore, but converting that use into providing more healthy foods for the SNAP program throughout the United States. Okay. The supplemental nutrition something program used to be called food stamps, our government, right? There's a SNAP program out there where people are taking SNAP money and going to grocery stores and buying popcorn and potato chips to feed themselves. Well, the cities want to work with these guys to provide, thank you, Michael, to provide healthy foods in the inner cities. So they are experienced growers. They can grow tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce and oranges and apples and whatever in these markets to provide healthier SNAP programs. And that's their whole business plan. And they need us to raise capital at a fraction of the cost, at twice the speed to deliver this stuff throughout our major cities around the world. So that's another example. And when they raise that capital, they have to raise it through us because we have the infrastructure, we have the community to help fund their capital raises at a fraction of the cost, at twice the speed, and they will pay out their dividends. And when they pay out the dividends to us investors, they pay out in the form of the Trusted Smart Chain coin. A third company is a company that does oil refinery. With everything that's going on with the oil crisis, fracking and extracting oil around the world is a massive demand. And they're coming onto our blockchain to raise capital. Man, I can go on and on and on, but I'm intimate with these guys. I just came back from Las Vegas and I met all of these guys who are telling us why they chose the Trusted Smart Chain versus going to VC money, versus going public.
Tommy, thank you. And that's what I'm excited about, right? To put more projects, granted, this is the gas. Everyone, not everyone will make it through the tokenization. Crypto is how they run their business. Like you said, keeping the high standards will keep you alive longer. That's why we do need government regulations like the Clarity Act eventually, right? To figure out how do we do this. It's not going away. And I do love in commercial real estate, the limited partner so they can have other people. And then it's bid and ask how much you're going to pay to buy out somebody else's position. But this is necessary, right? And it all is having the speed, less friction, and increasing liquidity for everything. So that's what I always love. And I hope, Tom, we do this on a quarterly basis or more to share case study examples. I love to, like I was saying before on Top Agent Nation, is to help people learn what the latest and greatest, figure out how to do this business, and stay ahead of the curve, right, with everything. And we're going to share more and more useful information so people can earn more, learn how to pivot and adjust their business, but also invest and create these opportunities. If you have, I would say, if you have disposable income, don't start betting the kids' college money or house money. Don't do that, right? Don't do that. Stay alive, have a safety net, be smart about how you invest, but it is always good and it doesn't cost you anything to learn and understand. And Tom, it took a while. I had to understand, and I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to try this, take a look. And like I said, with crowdfunding, I bought into 3, one's still alive, but I learned a lot and I made a lot of friends, and it doesn't hurt. So Tommy, any final words for everyone, and share your information again, because I do think it is very important to learn. If they want to be involved, that's great.
Yeah.
But what blockchain, tokenization, all of this, it's here to stay. You're right.
Yeah, my cell phone is the fastest way to get in touch with me. It's 617-312-0838. Just text me, introduce yourself, and I will send back as much information as you would like. If you were invited here by Scott Cook or James Huang or Barbara, then get in touch with them. They're all affiliates of the Trusted Smart Chain. They will share with you their information. And let's get you going. My closing comment is this. Um, you know, I grew up. I came here as an immigrant. My mom brought me here as an immigrant. We didn't travel in the accredited financial world. We did not. We were never invited into those rooms where the rich get richer. If you can comprehend what I'm saying, you'll understand this. I never got that chance. Okay. When I saw Zoom as an investment way early on, and I love this technology where I don't have to travel 3,000 miles to Seattle to see Jim's smiling face, I believed in it, right? And I bought Zoom early on. I was an early adopter, and that took care of me. Airbnb, when they came along, I saw that I was an early adopter. I got that call to join an event, and I got involved with Airbnb, and that's done very well for me. We Buy Ugly Houses, when they were coming on, and they say, hey, you can buy distressed properties at 60 cents on the dollar. Most people in Boston, Massachusetts said it's not going to happen, Tom. And I got involved early. When I heard EXP 9 years ago now, people laughed at me. There's no way this brokerage is going to work in the cloud. Back then, you got to go to the office. No, you don't. The losers go to the office because they got nothing else to do. The winners are on the road doing deals. They're going to the office because they're drinking free coffee.
You're being harsh, Tom, but
I
it
am
is the
being
future.
harsh.
No, but I'll just tell you this, and like with EXP and others, when people copycat you,
That's
tokenization.
right.
When people copy, if you're the only one out there, unless you have some proprietary IP or something that no one else can,
Yeah.
forget it. But anything worth it, a lot of people copy, study, tweak it, innovate it.
Yeah.
And that is something everyone should be proud of. But you got to be there early. Like I watched you to
Get
say
early.
EXP too. It works, right? But people laughed, why are you doing this? And I had options in commercial,
Sure.
but I told people what gets you financially free, what helps you live a better life of freedom. Not to say you're not going to work, but it gives you options, right? And options are important for everyone. So,
Yeah.
you
So
you know
get
what
there
I mean.
early.
Get there early,
That's the message,
explore.
guys. If you're listening to this on a replay, if you're on this call, do yourself a favor and get to the bottom of it fast. That's my word of advice for you. Um, Instead of taking 10 weeks and put in 10 hours over 10 weeks or 10 months to study this, take the next 10 hours over the next couple of days and dive deep, and we will give you the information. Take a deep dive and then decide. The node operator opportunity will not last for long. When we sell out 200,000 nodes, it's game over. There's such a thing called being an early adopter, get higher levels of distribution on the token on a daily basis. Every day today, you'll get more of a fair share of your daily distribution than someone who gets in a month from now, a week, a year from now. That's what I would say. Get involved fast, learn it, and then decide for yourself. Hey, I heard the opportunity. It wasn't for me. I'm out, but I understood everything about it. I'm cool with that. But the last thing I want you guys to say is, man, I heard about it on this top agent secret call with Jim and Tom, and I didn't do anything to peel back the onion. And
So
don't do that.
thank you, Tom, for being here. Please reach out to learn more. And this is what we're trying to do at Top Agent Nation Commercial Wednesdays, the latest and greatest cutting edge from learning to helping you earn, restructure your business and build it, make some pivots if you need to, and sometimes invest in the future, right? Your future, your family's future of what you can do. And I love to bring in speakers who've done it. I don't like to bring in people who just talk all the time. We know those people. I like to see people put their money where their mouth is and actually do it. And Tom, I watched you in many things, from the ugly houses, from the insurance business, from EXP, from now this, I keep watching. And granted, I don't jump on all the time right away, but I do get involved and I'm curious because as you know, I work on
Yeah.
so many projects, but the good thing is I know how it all puzzle pieces together. So I
Yeah.
would just say, be curious, learn, show up every Wednesday to get the latest and greatest, or watch the repeats and records. If anything strikes it and that you find interesting, please join us.
I
Everyone, have a
appreciate your
great.
leadership, Jim. I appreciate your leadership and you being here every single week. There's a lot to be said there. So I appreciate you for that, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See everyone again next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.